Robert A. Wall, the voice of the jungle, broadcasting on the DVC to all points unknown. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're listening to Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Hello and welcome home. Thank you for joining us on episode 177 of Welcome Home, a Disney Parks and Vacation Club podcast. I'm Tom. I'm here with Trevor and Damon. What's up, guys?
Hello.
We're just talking about how the response from last week's episode was so forceful.
Yeah,
We've got a lot of feedback.
So be prepared to be disappointed this week.
Oh, this episode's terrible.
Yeah.
What do you mean? We haven't even done it yet. It can't be terrible if we haven't done it yet.
It's pretty terrible. I've seen what's on it.
But that doesn't mean, just listen, if the topics aren't interesting, doesn't mean we can't make it interesting. You know, it's our jobs here, right? Just make this stuff interesting.
Well, it's not my job.
Well, no, you're right.
If it was my job, that would be a different story.
It's your job.
I would feel differently about this if it was my job as well.
Can you
It wouldn't be a
imagine
bad
if it was
thing.
our job?
Oh yes, I would take this in a heartbeat to be my job. I wish it could be.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know about that.
we need a lot more followers on YouTube for it to become our job. So,
Yeah, right.
I mean, I tried to get Tom to get us some new people to come on, but he just refused this week, everybody.
I didn't refuse.
I mean, he pretty much refused. There was no doubt about it. It
That's
was a
not
refusal.
fair.
No, I refuse to get your Instagram influencer people as opposed to people that have actual successful podcasts.
Yeah, but the way I look at it is that if you have a huge Instagram following, right? Like those people are going to listen, even if they're not charted. We all know that the charts are not even right anyway.
Yeah, but
Right,
I mean, I don't even care about the charts. Like, I've never even heard of the podcast that you.
But that makes it even more fun. Like we should have have a part where we just invite everybody. Everyone that's got a Disney podcast can come on our podcast. Like that would be fun.
Damon's right. You know, if we're just overlapping with people that we know and what we're doing right now, we're not doing ourselves any favors.
I just think it would be fun.
That. No,
yeah, but you just poo-pooed on these people. They had 10,000 Instagram followers, and I'm like, 10,000 Instagram followers, not bad.
And no, my argument is that means nothing for the podcast world. I mean, it means a lot for the Instagram world, sure, but like,
the thing is, you can't point to something that says that means nothing.
I mean, I can because I've never heard of any of these shows and they're never on the charts. So
I could probably name podcasts that
they have like
never
30 reviews
on.
They have like 30 reviews on iTunes. So like they don't have listeners.
Hey man,
like,
listen. If they have 30 good reviews, I'll take the 30 good reviews if those people listen and review our podcast too.
My argument was like,
we have a new. I think we have a section where it's rando podcast of the month,
of the week.
We just find
Right.
somebody.
Yeah,
I'm definitely down for that.
I guess my thing is when you say Instagram followers, you may as well say they have 5,000 schmeckles because
that's what I'm saying. Yes, thank you.
Like we don't clearly do Instagram.
We don't. But
Yeah,
what would be the best way to get more people on our Instagram?
You're right.
Oh yeah, sure. But I don't care about Instagram. I care about listens. So I care about people listening to me.
You have to care about Instagrams because look, here's the thing. In this day and age, if someone's looking for the podcast and the first thing they come across is our Instagram, they just go, nope, because it's so small, right? Like there definitely is a conversion factor that may happen. Plus you're just getting in front of new eyes, irrelevant. And to top it all off, if we're the Big Brother podcast, right? Like, or, the big sibling, like, why not help out people that are smaller?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
it would just be, I think it would just be fun.
I also didn't say no. I just said I was thinking in a different direction. That's all. But
this whole discussion took a totally different turn than I thought it would this morning.
Which direction did you think it was going to go?
I don't know. I thought we were just going to go into listener questions right away.
No. Even let's see. Are the listener questions even any good?
Wow.
I kind of like the first one.
I mean, there's some good ones. I tell you though, I had a whole discussion with Tom about use here for how much DVC stuff we talk about. Because I don't ever book trips, I was all thrown for a loop on my point situation. So I have like 40, 21 points, and then obviously I have all my 22 points. But I'm trying to book something in August as well as something in June of 23, and I just didn't understand like how I could go about booking that. Like if I want to book June of 23 in July of 22, what points am I really using?
Your problem is that you have a December use year, which makes things complicated, right? Because your year really starts in December, right? So like December 22 starts in December of 22 and goes till December of 23. It's a little confusing, but
so my 22 points I don't even really have them then if it starts in December of 22.
Yeah. No, you're right. You don't have them yet. No.
Yeah. So, so that's
you're like
the thing.
Behind everybody else.
So if I want to book, let's say I do August, right? And then I got to borrow out on my 22 points, right? Up to 50, which is 50%, which is fine because I don't need that much. I'm just doing a short trip in August, 4 days. But then how do I book that June 23 trip when I don't have enough 2022 points if I want to book it in July?
Well, no,
like
because
God.
It's the points you can book it because it's when it takes place, right? So are you saying you're not going to have enough points in your 2022
to book my June of 2023?
I see. Okay. So, I mean, you could borrow from 24 or from 23. I'm sorry, from 23.
But I can borrow from 23 now just because it's taking place in June of 23.
I don't know. I'm confused. I feel like I need to look at this.
But you see what I'm saying, though? Like,
yeah, it's confusing because
how do I book my 23 situation in July of 22 because I want to book it 11 months out? What points are those?
You should be able to do that. Yeah,
should be able to. So you have the 40 points.
Yeah.
So I have 40 points that I'm going to use, let's say, for this August. Okay. Then I'm going to.
All right.
Yeah, so I'm going to book an August trip. Let's call that August trip 100 and something points. I don't even know. It's called 100. Oh, it's 160, let's say. So let's say I'm going to borrow then 120 points from 2022 plus my 21 points to do August. In July, though, before that trip even takes place, I need to book June of 23.
Right.
And so that's going to be way over the points I have left in 22.
But you should be able to borrow from 23, though.
Yeah, 23, because you should see that on your dashboard of how many points you have available in 23.
Yeah.
No, and if you don't, that's the problem.
No, you should. Hold on.
You should be able to see it, yeah. I can see mine, I think, all the way.
Can you?
Yeah.
But like, you get what I'm saying, because like I really don't even have my 22 points yet until December. So
that's what's really weird is your use year's December, and that kind of throws you off. Right?
So how can I get my 23 points? We're going to find out, because see, here's the problem. If I can't hose myself out of the June 23 vacation, I'd rather hose myself out of the August vacation this year to not hose myself out of June of 23, because that's a bigger vacation for me.
Yeah.
Right.
So we'll just have to call, but it's confusing because I don't do that part anyway. My wife does. I don't ever book anything. I don't think I've ever booked a DVC anything in my life.
Oh, really?
No, because I mean, she just does it. So we're waiting though, because we're trying to see if we can do this August trip at all, because my son swims futures the last week of July, and then he's got another swim meet the first week of August, and then we don't know when my oldest has to be at college. Like, we know when school starts the 22nd, but like, when do freshmen move in? Don't know the answer to that. And he's like, I'm not coming home and then going to college a day later. He's like, I need at least 2 days at home. I said, okay, that's fair. So I'm just not sure. Oh, and then to top it all off, my wife is like, I don't really want to take a week off of work, so we need to work it in on a weekend as well. And I'm like,
oh, gosh.
Yeah, I don't know how this is all going to work. So.
Well, yeah. So I just pulled up my dashboard. I can see all the way till 2025. So.
Yep.
Oh, you can. Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, we'll see what happens.
So yeah, in theory, I think the short answer is you would probably borrow from 2024 if you needed the points for next.
No,
June.
23.
No, it'd be 23 because his 23 doesn't start till December of 23. So he'd be pulling
like at
from
the end
December.
of the year.
Yeah, it's so weird.
But hold on,
you'd be using your 22 points for your June 23 trip, and then you'd be pulling from 23 to borrow.
Yeah.
Yes. That should be. Yeah, because his year doesn't start until December. So his 22 points go from December 22 to December 23. And then, so it's 23 parts.
Okay, so yeah, you're right. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that is super confusing. You're right. Yeah, so then,
right. That's why I was like, I need to ask these guys because I don't really know the answer to this.
I guess this is why. Like, my use year's June, so it's a bit easier. It's in the middle of the year, and I can look and go, oh yeah, starting from here, and for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
But
even then, it gets a little. I mean, it can be a little confusing too, though. Even because, like, let's say you were going to book a March trip, right? Like next year, right? Like that's still on your 22 point, right? Yeah,
it is. But I guess it's because of where the rollover is. It doesn't like. Yeah. It's not the end of the year. Like I know it's overlapping to next year, but like in your case, Damon, it's you got a month, and then you're in the next year. So I see where that's messing you up.
Trying to figure out. I just realized I have a rando 10 points for this use year, even though I borrowed from next year. Why do I have 10 points just sitting around? Where did those come from? Oh, maybe because I don't know what happened. That's really strange. I'll have to figure out what to do with those. I guess I can just bank them, but whatever. Anyway, so you guys ready to talk questions here?
No. Yeah. I have to talk about what I played pickleball this morning. I know everyone needs to know about pickleball.
Oh, yeah. There's been a lot of talk about pickleball. Every time I hear pickleball, I always hear it's like old people playing pickleball. Like,
well, that's what's so funny. So today we go. What's been happening is we've been playing at like 8 a.m, which the kids are not big fans of on Sunday, right? So we've been playing with friends, and they have 2 girls that are going to college and going to be a sophomore, I think. Yeah, something like that. So we've been going to play at like 8 a.m, and it wasn't so bad. And then some meetup started at like 9 o'clock, right? So now the place is just mobbed. Now, normally we just play amongst ourselves and then kind of leave because there's 8 of us, not a big deal. But, today it got so packed so early that we start having to kind of put our rackets up. I don't know. You guys don't probably know a lot about pickleball, but what happens is it's like an old arcade, right? Where you put your quarters up, right? So you put your racket up.
Yeah.
But the thing is that the courts play 4 people. So there was some discussion about anyway, we all ended up playing with randos. So I'm playing with a rando on my team first, and these ladies are just chirping. Like now I'm playing,
really?
I'm playing like kind of like I'm super nice, like, hey, good shot. Oh, don't worry, you missed that. Like super laid back, totally not at the kitchen line because they're not playing up top. They're kind of just, playing a little, and they just start chirping, like telling me what to do. Like, so this lady's serving and I'm not on the end line because she's like 80 years old. Like, is she hitting it to the back end line? I don't think so. And if she does, I still feel like I could take a step back and still get it. So she starts telling me and I'm like, I'm good. So she serves it, right? And I just take a step back and hit it. No big deal. So then they start chirping about balls that are in or out. Like, it is not that serious. So talking. I'm just like, then they end up telling my daughter. So my daughter's playing with another rando on the court next to me. And the ladies that are playing against her are like, hit it to the girl. She doesn't know how to play. She's not any good.
Whoa.
Okay. So
that is not cool.
They get like really crazy. So I just go, all right, like this is how we're playing today, right? Like I didn't think it was going to be like that, but this is how we're playing today. So then I just had to just totally start going off like, okay, I'm going to stand at the kitchen line. Let's see what's going to happen now. It's crazy. These people get so worked up about pickleball, and it's not even like it's king of the court. So you play your games and you move down in court. So like when a court opens, you move down. And when you get to the end court, you finish your game if you're not done already. And then you have to step off anyway. So it doesn't matter if you lost that game or won that game. You're just getting back in line again. It's not like you win and you stay on. Like basketball is great, right? You win, you're playing until you pass out or you lose, right? Like, so why the stress about it? Like win or lose, like what's the stress about? Then another game I'm playing with some other lady on the other side and she's just like totally all over. Like I'm just like, wow, relax a little bit. Not realizing like, I mean, if you really want to play, like we can really play, but who's that fun for? Right? Like
I thought I was here just for like a morning, chill out session.
Not only that, right? It's like 8:30 in the morning on a Sunday. Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Crazy, man. Just crazy. So
that's funny.
That was my morning.
Yeah. I honestly, I've been hearing about pickleball so much and I didn't really know how it was played. So just while you were talking, I pulled up a YouTube video and I was like, oh, okay. It's like, it looks like it's a wiffle ball with giant ping pong paddles, basically.
Well, so my son was like, he was texting. He was Snapchatting my other son, and he's like, "Yo, I can't believe I'm up this early playing big ping pong." Like,
that's essentially what it is. Yeah, it's big ping pong. Yeah,
and again, right? You have to remember, my son was ranked at ping pong, so like he just goes and just starts. If he really wants to play, like. But it's just so funny, like how people get so invested in it, and there's really just no true. There's really winning's great, but like it doesn't affect anything.
Yeah,
like there's no
doesn't matter.
Like no, you're still getting off the court, win or lose. Like
I'm all crazy. For friendly competition. Like I absolutely have those moments where I'm competitive, but yeah, like you, it's like when people get to that point, you're just like, nah, dude, I'm gonna go somewhere else. Like I don't need.
No, I was just like, we're gonna turn it on. Like this one lady hit. Well, listen, she hit a great shot, but that was like one shot out of like 100, right? So she hits it, and they're over there just like hooping and hollering, like, oh, like yes, I you're right. You definitely beat me on this one shot. It was really, and I even said it's a nice shot, and then they start whooping it up, and I'm like. No.
I'm just imagining you talking trash to old ladies while playing.
No, I'm not. I didn't even have to say anything. Like to me, it's just like, okay, we're just going to play then, right? Like if that's the case, then okay, I can play. But I was trying to just kind of be like laid back about it. But no, it's crazy there, man. There was probably, I would say so there's 6 courts there. There's probably close to 75 people. Yeah, there's a lot of people.
They're opening a giant like pickleball facility here in Charlotte. That's also like a bar. Okay. Like it's a big.
That sounds bad news.
yeah. Wait, yeah.
Like every sports bar ever that has like bowling or mini
volleyball
or anything. Yeah. The volleyball court. Yeah.
Well, and then to top it off, there was some lady that was some professional, and she's like, "Well, I'm teaching lessons here today." Lady, there's 75 people here. Like, I think that's a really bad idea.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
not a good place to do it. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So this place is going to have 8 pickleball courts and 2 bars and event space and spectator seating and
dude, pickleball is unreal because even the courts that are in my town, this is outside of my town that we go to play, but the ones that are in my town, there's like 10 of them. I've never been able to go over there and play. It's that packed.
Just busy. Yeah.
Just busy all the time. And it's not even like, it's fun, but it's not like, it's not like tennis. Like tennis is definitely a lot. Listen, I know there's skill in pickleball, but I feel like there's still a lot of lucky shots in pickleball.
Okay.
It probably is like who I'm playing with, I'm sure, and my skill level as well. But I'm just like,
well, probably man. It's probably the fact that it's a new sport too, right? It has to go through.
The court's so small though, Trevor. Yeah. Like when I miss shots because like I either get like jammed or I just mishit them. Like I don't think I can't reach anywhere on the court. Mm-hmm. Like, so that's the thing that's kind of interesting. Like tennis, like my daughter can hit a shot by me and I'm like, okay, like there's no way I was ever getting that. Like it's more just like on the person. You know, like I said, in tennis, I feel like you can hit a good shot. Yeah. In ping pong, like, dude, if somebody hits a good shot, like you still probably could have gotten to it. You just messed up. Where in tennis, it's like, that's just such a good shot. There was no way I was ever touching that. I don't know. That's how I feel about it. We'll see how I feel after a summer of playing.
Yeah, we'll so just to circle back to, you know, since we're supposed to be talking about Disney, we'll wait for Disney's ESPN Wide World of Pickleball to open up.
Dude, pickleball is on ESPN a lot.
I know. I'm waiting for the facility at Disney.
There's no tennis facilities. How could they possibly have pickleball with no tennis? And again,
I'm making a joke.
No, but I'm saying I'm still very surprised that there's no tennis. Like it still bothers me that there's no tennis there.
I thought they did have tennis.
No.
Okay.
Like because they have all those soccer tournaments, they have volleyball tournaments, they have all sorts of tournaments that you can play. I think is there baseball there? I don't remember, but I know that you can play all sorts of different tournaments at Disney, like you know, with your club team. But no tennis.
They just chose not to do that one for some reason.
According to their website, more than 60 sports can be played there, but I don't see tennis listed.
There's no tennis. I've already looked because I wanted to go play, and you can't. Like there may be a court or two at a resort, but there's no facility.
Huh. That is surprising. You would think they would have it there. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So wait.
All right, let's get to Connor's questions now, I guess. Connor, you have the best question, I think.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Do you see your family owning DVC until expiry, or do you think you will sell at some point? Second to that, how do you think your Disney travel will evolve or change in the future? Damon's talked a lot about his evolution here, but
yeah, so that one we've answered a lot, and it's a long answer. It's not even worth really going into. I don't think I would ever sell. I just don't like. It's like free at this point. Like why? I don't see myself selling.
Except for the,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm the same as you. I don't see us ever selling because, you know what? Why would I give up a guaranteed time at, one of the best resorts in the world, for what I want, at least.
Yeah.
And, I even if I don't use it for a couple of years, I know I'll come back to it, and I would.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't see myself getting rid of it.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we were talking about too. We're like, all right, if we do this 23 trip, then we'll take a break after that. But the other thing is, I bought Riviera to give to my kids, right? That was the whole point of buying it. So why would I sell, right? Like the whole point was to give to them. Like my Saratoga, they can have if I don't feel like going when I get older. But Riviera was really just bought for them. So hey, here, go do some stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and for me, I just getting started with my daughter, right? So we have a lot of time, but I did buy it with the intention of someday, giving it to her, and passing it down to her to have, or having her use it or whatever. The only thing I could see selling is my one contract that is in a different use year than the others. But I think Connor more means selling all of them at some point, right? And just not having any DVC anymore. I don't think I'm going to do that, but I could see myself selling off one contract and buying another. Just to get all of my contracts in the same membership and on the same use year.
You've been talking about doing that for years.
Mm-hmm. I know. I just want to go. I don't want to go through the hassle of it. That's what it comes down to. So, we'll see though. I might do that at some point, but and I'm sure I could probably I don't know. I'd have to see. I don't know what that contract would go for at this point. So, I have to see. So anyway. But that's probably the only time I would do it. I don't know how my travel is going to evolve and change. I don't know. Right now it's my vacations are already different because my wife and I were used to just being the two of us going, and, going with a kid obviously changes that completely. Right. So there's a whole different vacation, and you plan different things, and you take less time at the parks maybe to take it easy a little bit, especially at this age. So, it's funny because we were just talking today about our planning and, what we're going to do for our October trip. But we're still not really sure what that's going to look like yet. But I already, going to put together an itinerary and figure out what, places we're going to eat and all that fun stuff. So, and all the park days and all that. So at some point I'm going to do that. I just haven't done it yet, but I really don't need to do it yet, truthfully. So I have time. So,
yeah. And so kind of, we've talked about how our Disney plans are evolving too. And the interesting thing is, I know, Damon, you've talked about, your family and, your kids getting older and all that kind of stuff. I'm seeing that looming on the horizon as well. And I realize it's going to be coming faster for me than it did for you because, you've got 3 kids and I've only got 1. So, I'm going to be in that position a lot quicker, as my son gets, through high school and into college and all that kind of stuff. But he keeps saying to me, we say, we're going to hit a point where, we're going to take trips without you. And he looks at us and goes, no.
Yeah, I don't
that's good.
Know. Yeah. I don't know if that's going to even change. He may still be an adult and coming with us. So,
yeah, I would think that, it's funny. One of my son's swim coaches said to me, she goes, the easiest way to make sure you see your kids all the time is pay for their vacations, right?
It's true.
It's
but
true.
The only thing I'm already thinking of is all right, well, how many vacation years do I have left before my son has a job? And then how does his vacation work, right? I'm lucky enough that I just decide when I want to go away, and we all make it work. My wife is kind of the same way. If my oldest gets a job where he's got 2 weeks vacation and, you got to take it a year in advance, it's going to be more difficult, right? That's where it's going to be harder, I feel like. So I'm kind of, filling those in because again, when you have a whole summer off, it's really easy to just be like, hey, we're going to go somewhere, and you make your plans and you do that. When, your kid now has a job and they have, 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever they're given these days, that's when it becomes harder because A, do they really want to take a Disney trip with you, regardless if you're paying or not, if they really only have limited time and they have a significant other? That's where I think it's going to get a little bit dicier.
Yeah.
There's you're right. There's a lot more factors there, and yeah, it's interesting because like you're saying, it's you think you can see how it's going to play out, but then
you never
in 5 years you really don't know where your kids are going to be. You don't know where yourself is going to be either, right? Like,
yeah, and you don't realize certain things until they get close enough, right? Like I'm saying, like, okay, well, it never dawned on me, hey, my son's going to have a real job with real vacation time. Like, what is that going to mean? Didn't think about that 2 years ago, right? It just wasn't something that came up, or, even, and it might not even be that far away. You got to think about it. Eventually he's going to have to get some sort of internships over the summer or something. Like, again, I've talked about this. I don't have my kids work. They don't work, right? They play sports. They're super busy. They don't work. So, that's fine. But once he's in college, like, he's going to have to do an internship at some point. We're letting freshman year slide, right? Freshman year, summer from college, do just still same thing. Do whatever you want, relax, recover and we told him, as long as he gets good grades, right? If you don't get good grades, that changes everything. I consider school a job. So if you're getting good grades, I don't think you need to worry about it. Like, my son was talking to me about something recently, about a job. And I was like, so your good grades in college got you $25,000 off of your college tuition. I go, you tell me what job you're getting that's going to make me that much money towards your college that I don't have to worry about that. Nothing. Yeah, so again, just go get good grades. But I think, like I said, we're really probably just 2 years away from having to kind of deal with a third job or internship kind of getting in the way, to be honest with you. The only benefit is that once they do get a little bit older and they're all working, you can plan that September trip, right? Instead of having to worry about the summer.
Yeah.
Well, and see, I'm going to be coming into the opposite soon, right? Like, right now, it doesn't matter when I take my daughter, right? But like, she's going to be going to school soon here, and now I'm going to have to conform around her school schedule, which is fine, because I used to have to do that with my wife when she was a teacher, right? So like, we're used to that. Like, we're used to having to deal with school, but that's going to definitely change. This next trip we're doing in October is probably the last trip we're going to get to do in October for a long time, right?
Well, so yeah, and wait till sports come involved, right? Like, you don't realize, because like, we can't go away until my son, like, we're going away to Dollywood. That's over 4th of July. We're only going for a few days, but we really can't take a trip until the middle of August. Yeah. And then, he starts back up. Like, sports have become such a big part of what they can do. Like, so we were talking about going away that first week in August, and my daughter has volleyball camp for school, and then they have tryouts 2 weeks later. Like, she can't miss that. Like, we can't miss that. So, we're doing that. And again, I have to say thanks to Michelle and her husband. Like I said, they've been giving me all that information about Florida swim school. So I appreciate that. I have to give them a little props.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And so just on the, Tom, you're talking about your daughter going to school and everything. We've been living that. And the thing is, for us, it was, you're right. Like, we would plan trips. Like we never go over the summer because, it's too hot for us. And we always try to work that, we'll pull our son out of school for a couple of days. Like we'll plan around like their professional development days and stuff like that at school, where they're off for like 3 or 4 days at a time anyway. So we've been doing that, but now, I think for you and your daughter, like when she's in elementary, or at least for my son, it was a lot easier to still make those plans. But now that my son's getting into, junior high and going into high school, finals are becoming a thing, or, midterms and finals and all that. So we found, like, even us talking about our next couple of years here, we were like, in the past, we were like, hey, maybe we could, look at going in May or something. And we're realizing, no, we can't do that, because that's when our kid is writing finals. So, we need to be, it's funny, like every couple of years, the situation changes, right? And you don't really know what's going to make sense for you until, like you said, Damien, it's not obvious until it's kind of coming up on you.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So,
all right,
do we cover that one?
I think that was a good long answer for that one.
You want to read Sean's, Trevor?
Sean says, any books that you recommend on the history of the parks? I vaguely recall a previous episode where someone mentioned a book being given as a gift. My next stay is until June 2023, and would love to kill some time reading some books, mainly on WDW, but open to books on Disneyland as well. So, that's
I've got some recommendations. I mean, it's probably me that's mentioned it before, right? So, like, I read Marty Sklar's book, which is Dream It, Do It. So he was, one of the very famous Imagineers. He was there for a long time, basically his whole career, right? So that's a really good one if you're like interested in like just, like the Imagineering side of things. So that's a good one. I've also heard that his other book, One Little Spark, is good. I have not read that one, but I've heard that one is good too. I've also, I haven't read this one either, but I know this one came out recently, was from Kevin Rafferty. He was a famous Imagineer too. He did Typhoon Lagoon, Blizzard Beach, Cars Land, Toy Story, Test Track, Tower of Terror. This guy's did all the major attractions from the past 20, 30 years here. So he retired and he came out with a memoir, and I heard it was very good. So I mean, I can't recommend it necessarily because I didn't read it, but I've just heard that it is good. But I definitely can recommend the Marty Sklar book. That's a good one. If you're looking for a Walt Disney biography, if that's, just one, you want to learn more about Walt Disney, and I mean, that has some park stuff in it. I did read, what was it called? Oh my gosh. Walt Disney, The Triumph of American Imagination. It's Neil Gabler. It's considered one of the best biographies. It's very thick, right? So it's it's a very long book. And there's a lot of characters and people that are involved in it. But there is some really interesting stuff in there, especially towards the end of the book, obviously, where there's some interesting things about the parks and things like that. So that's what I would recommend.
Tom reads far more books than I do, especially Disney books. The only one that I would add to that is Eat Like Walt, The Wonderful World of Disney Food. And it sounds, so the funny thing is that, it has a lot, it talks about a lot of the recipes and stuff, and it is focused around Disneyland, but it does also delve into the lore and the history of each of the lands around the park as well. So, I liked it because it's a good, for me, it's, I don't read so much about the Imagineers. I always end up going back to Disneyland and how even how things formed for Disneyland is kind of what I'm more focused on. It's like how it all got started. So, I would recommend that one.
There was some stuff in the Walt Disney biography that I didn't even know about, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but there were some things that Walt did before he even presented his concept for Disneyland that were gearing up for it, right? Mm-hmm. There was, and things that I had never heard of before. He, and I just guess this really isn't a spoiler, but there was a thing where he was building he decided to build these miniature, these super detailed miniatures, and a lot of people saw it as a precursor to designing the parks. I believe, if I remember correctly, they were ones that had movement built into them and stuff like that. I don't remember the whole thing, but there's some really interesting stuff in Neil Gabler's biography. And like I said, the Marty Sklar book's really good. That one's an easy read. There's some really funny things in there, and I've mentioned some of the, because he was Walt's right hand man for a while. He was if you don't know Marty Sklar, he used to be the person that would write all the stuff that Walt Disney would basically say, in all the TV shows that he would do. Yeah. So he's got some really cool insights. So that one I definitely recommend. And like I said, I heard his other book is good too, but I have not read it. But yeah, that's what I would recommend. Check out some of those Imagineer ones. There's a couple really cool ones out there, written by actual Imagineers, especially. I would love to get a Kevin Rafferty on the show. That guy, has designed so many things that are, legendary basically in the parks these days. Right. So, that guy would be great too. But yeah, that's all I got.
All right.
Francisco wants to know what activities we're interested in doing outside of WDW while staying on property. Any interest? I think you meant to say any interest in visiting Discovery Cove, SeaWorld, Kennedy Space Center, etc. I mean, I would love to go to Kennedy Space Center. I would.
So I've been to a few of these, right? So I've been to Kennedy Space Center with the kids. SeaWorld, loved. But we were also going on season passes, so it cost us nothing pretty much. But I really like SeaWorld. I like the Manta. I think that's a great ride. I think the penguin thing is pretty cool too. I really did enjoy SeaWorld a lot. Discovery Cove, never been to, but don't have a lot of interest for that either. I mean, are we talking Legoland? Are we talking Universal? Like,
I think so. Yeah.
There's a lot to do outside of just that. So,
yeah, I think he means anything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like SeaWorld. I really, truly did like SeaWorld. I thought it was really a nice park. And I think you almost have to go to Kennedy Space Center once, I feel like.
Yeah. I have not been to SeaWorld since I was a very little kid.
And Legoland is good, but I feel like you got to be at the right age to do it. Like, if the kids are too old, it's just not really worth it.
Unless they're like really into Lego.
But like almost even not then. Even.
Well,
yeah, almost not even, because like there's that section where you can walk through all the Lego stuff, which is really like kind of cool. But the rides are so kiddie that it almost doesn't matter that they're Lego themed, to be honest with you.
That's very fair,
right?
I guess.
But I have a friend. There's a lot to see there.
Yeah, I have a friend that like his whole family is into Lego.
Okay,
and you know they went to Legoland in California.
Okay,
and you know he just like they loved it. But for me, yeah, like I'm kind of like you, where it's like, you know, I don't see a lot there, just because of the fact that the theming of it is not really something for me anyways. So I mean, the rides and everything kind of.
I like the theming, but the rides are just like, they're almost like fair rides. You know what I mean? Like they're just.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just wasn't like all that, but it was cool to definitely go to once. I'm trying to think about what else in Florida we've done. I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot to do. There's a lot of things I saw on that. I was watching a World's Scariest Rides, and there was some crazy stuff all over the place I was surprised about. I mean, the Las Vegas stuff is nuts, but I think there was one or two things in Florida that I was like, yeah, I don't remember ever seeing that, but that's okay, because I would never do that anyway.
What's scary in Las Vegas? Oh, Stratosphere?
The Stratosphere stuff I'm out on, man. The Stratosphere
well, not only the Stratosphere, but I guess that there's one that's up there as well that is like you're on a coaster sort of track that just goes straight out.
Yeah, and then just stops.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah. Can't you like bungee jump off of there too? I think like there's all.
I don't think you can off the Stratosphere.
There's something.
I think
to do.
There's a swing. I think.
There's a swing in Orlando too that goes really, really high, and I was like, I've never heard of that before. But I think it was in Orlando, and it went really, really high, like one of those swings that you see at the fairs, but also you see them at some of the amusement parks, but it's like 300 feet in the air, and I'm like, nah.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. Yeah, it's funny because we have one of those at Carowinds, locally here, and my sister, who goes on everything and has gone skydiving, went on that, and she was like, I did not like that. She's like, that was awful. She's like, you're so high up, and there's barely anything underneath you, and she's like, it was terrifying.
Well, I'll keep saying, I've said it before, is after you've watched some of the Final Destination movies, you don't see those rides the same ever.
Yeah. That's fair. All right, so do we want to do Lisa's question here?
Yeah. Lisa says, what other factors in purchasing DVC? Let me try that again. What are other factors in purchasing DVC besides buy where you want to stay when you add on?
So it's funny because I always used to say buy where you want to stay, and then Damon said one day, he just was like, well, how often do you stay at the place that you bought? And I was like, oh yeah, never. Exactly. Except for Animal Kingdom. Now we stay at Animal Kingdom a lot, but the original resort we bought at Bay Lake, we've only stayed at once, right? So, and we've been able to book elsewhere using those points. So
yeah, I mean, my thing is that what I just realized as I was looking at this August trip as well, because since I'm kind of tight on points, where you buy? You buy where it's got the cheapest rooms. That's where you buy.
Saratoga.
Right, because think about it. Like your points. I'm not about buying anything that's not brand new. contract anyway. So
sure.
I'm not about like, it would have to be like, well, what's the newest contract I can buy that's the cheapest? But if you're buying resale or something like that, I mean, man, I'm just trying to buy where like rooms are, 10 points, man. Like that's what I'm saying. Like,
are you going to try to stay Riviera, by the way, on your trip next year? Is that what you're going to say?
No, I don't think we're not. So we talked about it because we're doing 3 bedrooms.
Oh yeah, you're doing
3 bedroom. Because that's the other thing that came up. I didn't realize the treehouse only slept 9. I'm like, this is totally hosed this whole vacation.
Well, how many did you need to sleep? Like 10?
10.
Just like one off? Oh yeah. Man, that sucks.
So we got to go, instead of treehouse now, we got to do 3 bedroom.
Yeah, so you were going to do the Saratoga treehouse, but you can't do that now. Okay, that's
no. Like, well, I think though, you see, here's the thing: you can get. I think you can, right, ask for a bed there. I think, right, a rollaway,
yeah, like a cot,
but,
like a cot or something.
Yeah, but who's trying to sleep in that? Like, just think about it. You're at the treehouse. Oh, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Here's the cot.
Who's losing on that?
Yeah, who's losing? We're only staying there 2 days, so it's not even like you can make bunches of people lose. No, you got 2 losers, right? Like, for sure. Yeah. So I think though the difference in points ends up being a bigger deal as your family gets bigger, as well as gets older.
Yeah.
Right. Because now that we're in this whole like, 2 bedrooms. Yeah, I'm all about that. I am not trying the 2-bedroom Animal Kingdom. Let me tell you, like, it's too many extra points for nothing. Just not doing it. So
I would never do that at Poly either. Like, if I ever had to do a bigger trip with my family, which I mean, I don't see us doing that just because of, we all have different directions we're going and everything. But yeah, if it came down to having to do like what you're doing, Damon, yeah, same thing. I would be looking for the resort with the cheapest points.
Yeah. Cause everyone buys, well, not everybody, but a lot of people get talked into buying DVC under the auspice of go every other year, right? Like that's kind of, I think a lot of DVC sales are kind of positioned that way, where in reality, I want to go every year, right? When the kids were younger, we wanted to go every year. So I said, okay, well, if I want to go every year, right, you kind of get into this thing where when we bought points, especially with the December use year, right, we bought them in the summer. So you almost get 2 years, right, when you start, right, because they give you those free points, right, free points. They give you that extra year.
Yeah.
When you were buying back then, that was the big thing, right? Take an extra year of points. And so we were kind of always ahead of the game because of that. But now that, again, like it's so many years later and that kind of is not the case anymore. It's, I'm all about, what it costs. I don't care if I'm staying at Key West, Riviera, Poly. I'm sleeping there. I don't care.
See, we did this calculation, Damon, too, because, we were looking to do a 3-bedroom or a 2-bedroom for this trip we have upcoming, right? And you can get a fairly cheap 2-3-bedroom at Saratoga, right? Mm-hmm. But we wanted to stay in Animal Kingdom because we know that my daughter will really enjoy that and will probably be in the room more than, just for sleeping, right? Because we'll be coming back sometimes to take a break because my daughter's not going to be able to go all day long, right? So
it's a timing in your life thing. That's
exactly.
Deciding this factor. Yeah.
But I mean, it was a hard decision for me because I'm looking at Saratoga and I'm like, man, that is a lot less points, right? Like, to your point, Damon, it is a lot less points. And that's part of why we never stay at Bay Lake because Bay Lake's a lot of points to stay there. So we stay elsewhere where there's the points make more sense, Mm-hmm. That's because you're paying for that proximity, right? You're paying for the ability to walk 10 minutes into Magic Kingdom. That's what you're paying for. So,
I mean, and there is some benefit to that, but we're talking about when we go in August, I'm not even going to go to Magic Kingdom. I have no interest in stepping foot in Magic Kingdom.
Unless
for what?
Somehow.
Well, yeah, but I mean, outside of that, I mean, what am I stepping my foot into Magic Kingdom for?
Yeah, that's still Damon's going there for Tron and then he's leaving. He's not spending a day in Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I feel like if I was going there for Tron, then I would probably like do some rides. Like it was funny. My parents now have that DVC contract and they're like, oh, what's it to do this? My mom's like, well, we're just going to run over there real quick and get on Peter Pan. I was like, do you remember the last time you were ever there? Like that is not something that happens.
The's no real quick
over there and get on Peter Pan.
Like, that's so real quick.
That's not like I've been. For as long as I can remember, you never just get on Peter Pan. Like.
So, Trevor, I will tell you that I'm old enough that I do remember that.
Well, I don't remember
what happened.
I guess is the thing because
Yeah, because I don't know what happened, but you used to be able to roll onto Peter Pan. Like, it was possible. And it was definitely a long time ago, right? It was obviously pre-Winnie the Pooh and all that, but you used to be able just to roll onto Peter Pan. No longer the case. I don't know what happened. Something changed, and it's...
See, I don't... What you know, going to Disneyland back in the 80s and 90s, Peter Pan, like, because there was all those dark rides in Fantasyland, like there was Mr. Toad, there was Snow White, like, and
Mr. Toad, such a good ride.
Yeah, and Peter Pan, it was funny actually. Mr. Toad was always the walk-on. Peter Pan was the one that was always busy. So,
well, I also remember though, when we first had kids. So you're talking now, let's call it like 17 years ago, right? We would go in the heat of summer, 99 degrees. Like, so it was way different than it is these days, because if you were willing to go and bear the heat of August in Florida 15 years ago, most everything was walk-on.
Nobody else was there to do it.
Nobody else was there, especially because, schools have evolved so differently as well, because back then, most of the South was already in school when we would go.
Right.
And the northern schools were not, but most people weren't really about going to Florida in 99-degree weather, especially if you're taking a flight or driving there, because who would do that to themselves? So that's when we would always go. Everything was the darn near walk on at that point. It was not bad. But then again, we had fast passes, everything, because, I was doing sprints across the park in 97-degree weather.
Much respect.
The only time I've ever walked onto Peter Pan, I think, was extra magic hours. And it was like 1:00 in the morning, back when they used to do till like 2 a.m. at Magic Kingdom. That was really the only time I think I ever walked onto that ride. So
yeah, that's extenuating circumstances. Like that's
that's extra. Yeah.
So I realized we kind of missed. So the last part of Lisa's question was when you add on for the whole DVC thing. The last factor is, and Tom already talked about this, line up your use years if you're adding on.
Yes,
don't
do it.
Don't do, some in June, some in November or whatever. Like,
no,
seriously, line up your use years. I saw that, we did that with when we added on to ours. It kept it very simple. Like, it's like the contracts come up and it's like everything just lines up all the time. And, Tom, you've obviously attested to, I got to think about, I can't use these points because they expire before I go. And don't do that.
Biggest DVC mistake I've ever made was doing different use years. And at the time I thought I'd be able to manage it, but it's a pain. It's just a pain. It's just added time of managing your points, right? Where if you do the same use year, it's a lot easier. But I think a lot of this question really just kind of depends on what your priorities are, right? Like, if you really want to go to Beach Club and go to Beach Club, like, then buy a Beach Club. Like, I wouldn't buy a Beach Club because in my mind, I'm always looking for the best value, right? So what's going to be the lowest cost per points and dues? What's going to be the best value to buy, right? Like, that's always what's in my head. Or, I do also, partly the reason we bought in Animal Kingdom is that we do stay there for a amount, but honestly, I'm not booking at 11 months ever. I don't think I've ever booked at 11 months. Right. So for me, it's like, I don't know. I think you want to get the best value, and truthfully, Animal Kingdom at the time was a good value too. So it's partly why I bought it. So
yeah. And that comes down to your situation where
exactly.
I'm on the other end of that where, to me, the best value is, Poly is the best value because it lines up with what me and my family want to do.
Exactly.
I'm fully aware that point wise, it's more expensive than most resorts. And, we do I do look at the point charts for Poly, and that does kind of guide some of my booking windows. We look at the point charts and kind of decide when we're going to go, and to make sure that we don't overuse our points.
Yeah.
But yeah, beyond that, I'm not doing the, searching for which resort has the cheapest points and everything, because, I just accepted that, this is what we want to do. This is, the buy where you want to stay thing, trumped our desire to find the best value. And like, don't get me wrong. That's not a wrong way to approach it. Like, I'm not saying, buy where you want and that's it. I'm saying, that's just our situation.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
Let's go. Right. Let's before we do another question, let's do our ad really quick because we're kind of halfway through here. So, and then we can answer the rest of the questions and then get into the other random stuff that's floating around here. There's not a lot of news this week. It was a little bit slow. So we'll talk about a couple things, but let's go ahead and do our ad.
Okay. DVC resale market this week. DVC resale market, a World of DVC company, is the leader in the DVC resale industry with 13 former Disney Vacation Club guides and 3 former Disney Vacation Club quality assurance managers. If you're thinking of buying DVC, browse the largest selection of DVC resale listings anywhere with DVC experts on hand 7 days a week to answer your questions. If you're thinking of selling, turn to the friendly professionals at DVC Resale Market, where over 98% of listings sell within 30 days. In 2020, DVC Resale Market helped over 3,600 families join or add on to their memberships. Go to dvcresalemarket.com or call 1-844-DVC-PROS. That's 382-7767. And when you speak to them, be sure to let them know that Welcome Home sent you.
All right. This was a very interesting question from Dan because just kind of very generic. What are some things that make you happy lately? I like this question though. I like the idea of happy. We try to be, to be happy on the show. So,
we talk about our happy place, which, sure, Disney World is usually your happy place, but I guess. Well, all right, go ahead. What makes you happy, Tom?
The trip. Well, the meetup trip made me very happy. That was a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. And listen, the aftermath of it, not great. But due to the COVID situation, but the actual trip itself was a lot of fun, and it was great to meet everybody. I will say a couple things recently. One of them was Stranger Things coming back, and watching that all the way through. I don't know if either one of you guys watched Stranger Things all the way through, but I did.
I haven't yet because my son actually decided he wants to watch it, so we're letting him catch up on season 3 before we watch.
So he's got to watch all the way through. Oh man, okay.
Yeah, he's doing that right now. Actually,
so you got to wait for him to finish. Okay. Yeah. And this season's tough too because a lot of the episodes are long, like they're like over an hour. So, but that has made me happy. That's been good. Pool weather. I enjoy going to the pool. It's been nice that the pool's back open again and can go, go with my daughter and go swimming and stuff like that. That's been making me happy too. So I think those are a couple of my things. Plus, I like playing weird video games. So I've been playing, some weird video games lately that have been making me happy.
All right. Let's hear it. What are you playing?
Oh no!
Do it. Well, I'm going to tell you mine after. So go.
Okay. Yeah. So I really like sim games, like like management kind of games. So I really like
a second job.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I've been playing 2 Point Hospital recently, which is kind of like a modern version of Theme Hospital, which was one of my favorite games from what was that? The late 90s, maybe early 2000s. So I've been playing that one a lot lately. I like that one. And then last night I was playing with some friends over the internet. We were bowling on Switch Sports. So I mean that one's not weird, but yeah, we were doing some bowling online on Switch Sports and having some fun with that, and some badminton too, which I like. I swear, I feel like I threw my shoulder out while I was playing badminton. I get a little too hard playing that game. And then we also did some sword fighting too, which if you haven't done the sword fighting on Switch Sports, it's you look ridiculous. Oh well, no, well, not only that, but my wife and my sister, my best friend and I were here. My sister was here, and they were filming my best friend and I playing because we just looked like maniacs, just with the two Joy-Cons in our hand, just kind of flailing all about. So it was pretty funny. But yeah, so that's what I've been doing lately.
Nice. Damon, do you want to go next, or are you passing on this one?
Short podcasts.
That was what makes you happy?
That's what's making you happy? Yeah.
Yeah.
What about 5-star reviews, Damon?
They don't make me as happy as podcasts that are under an hour.
Okay.
Well, that's not happening.
Yeah, that's
well. I mean, for me, it will. But
yeah,
everybody enjoyed that you were there for the whole episode last week. That was.
It was definitely more of an enjoyable episode. I'm just looking at this list. I can't. Dude, you have 8 cooking things, and then Finding Nemo.
We don't have to go through all of these. It's just a few things,
We're supposed to be talking about what makes us happy.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. We shouldn't be arguing. We're supposed to be talking about things that make us happy. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Trevor, right. Go ahead. You can.
Okay. So things that have been making me happy lately. The meetup was definitely a high point in the last month. The fact that spring is finally here. We have a large Mayday tree in our backyard that is flowering right now, and I always love that this time of year because it means that spring is finally here. We're not going to get any more weird snow like we did back at the beginning of May. Looking forward to getting out in, just being out in the yard again. That always makes us happy. And yeah, I've been playing some weird video games lately too. My genre of choice is I tend to dive back into what's called Metroidvania games for any that are so old school like Metroid and Castlevania games where like you're exploring a world and you get power-ups and it kind of expands the world as you go. I found one called Astalon Tears of the Earth, which had a very Nintendo retro feel to it, but turned out to be a very fun game that I sunk about 15 hours into. Really liked that. And then strangely, a game that I played a couple of years ago called Enter the Gungeon came back around because my son actually started playing it because it somehow got on his radar. So him and I have been playing that together. We've been playing some co-op together, but we also have our own saves on it. So we've been, kind of playing and comparing notes and different power-ups and combos that we've been finding in that game. So, those are things that have been making me happy lately.
Here's two things that have been interesting. Obi-Wan is not bad.
Okay.
I thought it definitely got a little bit better. The only thing is that I cannot stand the fact that they have the dude from Silicon Valley as the fake Jedi. That hurts my feelings because he's...
Wait, which dude from Silicon Valley? I haven't watched the show, so I don't know who it is.
I only watched the first episode with my kids, so I haven't gotten that far.
I need to know which dude. Okay. I mean, I guess I could look this up, but
I forget his name. Hold on, you're gonna make me look it up. Anyway, it's dude, seeing Darth Vader is kind of cool. Like there's something to be said about that.
Kumail Nanjiani.
Yes. Yeah.
Got it.
But he just dude, it's not his part. Like that was definitely bad casting. Like I like him, but just bad casting. But Stranger Things is no joke this season.
Yeah, no, you're not kidding, right?
Yeah, it is no joke this season. So it was interesting because my wife was like, oh, right before we started sitting down to watch season 4, it was like, hey, my daughter will like that.
Oh,
and
no.
Then we're start watching season 4. We're like, no. And then my mom, who doesn't like anything scary, she can't be home by herself, no matter what, it's a whole big thing. So she was like, oh yeah, season 4. I'm like, don't you even think about watching that. No, absolutely not.
It's straight up they're doing a whole, and I'm not spoiling anything, Trevor, but the whole season is basically Nightmare on Elm Street homage, and amongst others.
I fully expected it to go there, everything 80s. I was getting that vibe back in season 1 when they were fighting the Demogorgon. Was there's some Nightmare on Elm Street stuff going on in here.
Yeah, and I mean it's a good season, absolutely, because there's only 5 seasons, so we're starting to get towards the end. It's good, but man, it is scary. It is. Listen, look, it's not scary staying up at night scary, but for Stranger Things, it's definitely scary.
It's more intense than
a lot more gore.
Previous.
Way more intense. Yeah. So the thing that's been striking me though about that show is that, again, you got this D&D focus, and I was always under this impression and obviously wrongly so, that that had some, these monsters had some sort of attachment to D&D, which they do not. It's just the kids name them that stuff because that's all they know.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
But this season is a leech. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's crazy.
You mean a lich?
No, it's leech. It's leech. L-E-E. No, yes, that's my pronunciation. I pronounce things how I want, and it's
okay.
A leech.
I mean, yeah, there's very if you're into horror movies, especially ones from the 80s. There's a lot of 80s horror movie going on in there. I mean, which always has been, but I feel even more so this season. I also enjoy there's references to movies War Games, which I thought was fun. There's some really fun references this season. But to your point, it's a lot more intense. There's a lot more gore in this. It's a lot grosser, I think. Right? Mm-hmm. It's definitely not to say scary.
It's just scarier, man.
Yeah, it's scary. Yeah. It's there's some really good stuff in it though. Trevor, I'm looking forward for you getting to see it because it's good. It's a really good season. It's
a really good season,
and I'm actually really mad that I have to wait now another month to get the rest of it. Because we finished it off so quick, and now we got to wait for the last 2 episodes until July, and it's just frustrating.
I'm kind of glad that my son started watching it because it's been so long from the previous seasons that I'm glad that I'm kind of recapping it before I go into it because I think I'll feel
no joke. As soon as the episode, like the new season started, they do like a recap, and my wife was like, it was a really long recap, and my wife was like, "Oh, good, I needed that because like I totally forgot everything that happened." So it was good that they had a recap in the beginning there. So, I just really good season so far, and I mean it's only. Well, it's more than halfway over because there's only 2 episodes left that they're going to release. But I mean, I think they're supposed to be long ones, right? I think they're supposed to be like 1.5 hours, 2 hours. So
something like that.
Basically movies that they made. So
sweet.
So that made me happy to have that come back because it's been so long and it's one of my favorites. So
but I'm actually down on TV now because there's not too much that there's nothing to watch, which is like surprising. I never thought there'd be nothing to watch.
Yeah.
I'm actually not surprised that we're in this state
because we're at the stop filming during COVID. That's now.
This is the aftermath of the last couple of years of lull, basically that that have happened. So you knew it was going to happen eventually, but
I mean, like all the shows that I really like and are excited to watch more of, like just kind of wrapped up. Meaning like. I watch them now, but like the last season of Ted Lasso, where I think I talked about the show.
It's so funny because I really feel like I should have liked that show, and it was just I couldn't do it. Like it was, like we watched like 4 episodes, and I'm like, I can't, man. We're at we are watching Severance on.
Oh, I love Severance, man.
So we're not done with it yet.
I love Severance,
but we've been watching that, and then I started Night Skies on Amazon, but only like 1 episode in.
Yeah, dude, Severance is really good. That's another one we watched all the way through, and we're like, now we got to wait for however long for another season of that one, which stinks too. I know what you mean because like my wife and I, after we finished Stranger Things, we were like, okay, well, what are we going to watch now? And then you know what I mean? Like it was. There's only a couple other things that I want to watch. Like there's a few things on HBO that I want to watch, but like what
on HBO?
I want to watch Our Flag Means Death because I'm a big fan of Taika Waititi.
Dude, it's so bad.
What? I've heard it's great.
It's so terrible. Like, I thought I was going to love it because it sounded like totally a show I would like. It is so bad.
Man, that's the first bad review I've heard. It's like the darling of like...
I couldn't do it, man. I did like 3 episodes and I'm like, I can never watch this garbage at all, anymore. Gosh. Like, it's just so bad. Yeah, I didn't love it.
I do want to watch that. I could tell you didn't love it.
Did not love that.
Yeah, no, I've just heard from a lot of people it was good.
I mean, maybe it's just not what I expected, and it's just ugh.
Yeah,
boring. It's boring. Bad is what I felt.
Is that what it is? It's boring.
Yeah, that's kind of what I felt like.
All right. Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, we started watching the WeWork show on Hulu, that one, but
wait, which one?
The one about WeWork that's based on the podcast about WeWork falling apart.
Yeah, I don't watch those sort of shows. If it's not funny or scary or adventurous, I'm not about it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I mean, Damon, have you watched? Did you watch Mythic Quest on Apple TV?
So stupid, man.
I know it is. That one is really stupid, but funny.
Yeah, I couldn't do it, man. Like,
really?
No, I tried. I just I couldn't do it.
I like that one.
There's a lot of shows that I feel like I should like and just don't.
Yeah.
Like, the League of Legends Arcane, like that everyone loves from an anime, sort of like loves it. Like, man, I'm like 4 or 5 episodes in and I'm just like, I don't really love it. I feel like I should though, but I don't.
I got told the same thing. Actually, one of my coworkers that's very much into anime and, him and I talk about games and stuff as well. And he was like, yeah, you should really like this because, where your interests lie. And same thing is it's just.
And I played the game, which makes it even worse that I don't like it. But
yeah, it's for some reason, it just doesn't hit the mark. Like, I don't know. I can't even describe why. It's just not interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm just I'm with you guys. I'm not really sure what's next. It's tough. I mean, I'm excited for the next Marvel show on DVC. I mean, DVC on Disney Plus. But still got to wait some time for that. I mean, they've got a couple more coming out this year that I'm interested in. So
maybe we need to crowdsource this question too.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I feel like we talked so little Disney this episode, which is fine. Like
we have, but let's maybe why don't we end off with the listener questions here, but put it out to the listeners, for anyone that goes, is in the Facebook group or on Discord. What are things that are making you guys happy lately?
Oh, I like that.
Want to hear some of that from you guys after this episode goes out too.
Yeah, Damon, you should put a post out there on that one. That'd be good. I mean, I guess any of us could do it, but Damon, you're the one that tends to post. So,
yeah, that doesn't seem like a Damon post, though.
No,
that's a fair point. That's a fair
no,
point.
It doesn't.
You know what? It's a fair point. So let's see. Oh, and also, I don't know if any of you guys have watched Yellow Jackets. I think I talked about it on here before. Yellow Jackets is really good.
Yeah, you have.
No, I haven't. What's it about again?
It's kind of like Lost-esque. It's like one of those mystery box kind of shows where, I mean, I don't.
It's good though.
Oh, it's great. It was really good.
What's it on?
It was on Showtime. That's the only problem, is on Showtime.
No, I don't have Showtime.
Yeah, well, no one does. So I had to go and buy it. So, yeah. But
I don't think I can buy Showtime for one show. I just can't do it.
No. I mean, I think I like rented it from like Amazon or whatever. So,
okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But like, you could like rent the season out or whatever. Yeah. So, but that show was excellent too. It's just unfortunate that's not Showtime, but definitely not a show. That's an adult only show, I will say. So, but that one is really good. If you like Lost, I think it's very Lost-esque.
I love Lost. That's what makes it even harder.
Yeah, I think you should go watch it then, because like I said, it's like
that makes that's a very high bar to hit, right? Like,
I agree. Yeah. I agree. I mean, it's got some similarities too, because there's a plane crash involved and they're lost in the woods.
Yeah, but you know what it makes? I'm looking at it now. It makes me.
Do you know how many shows have plane crashes?
Yeah.
Did you ever see The Wilds on Prime?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, we watched.
I didn't think that was good.
Yeah, it got really slow. Like we tried to get into it, and it just. Yeah.
I don't know, man. The Yellow Jacket's got a 66%. Like, I'm not about that. But Rotten Tomatoes 100%. That's so weird.
Yeah, dude. I was like, what are you talking about? It's got like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Because I was gonna say it's a pretty popular show. I mean, again, though, it's one that's not well known because it's on Showtime, and no one has Showtime streaming services. I didn't even know they had a streaming service. Like, just get rid of that. Like, why does it even exist?
Yeah, so, I don't know. This doesn't look.
It's good, man. I'm telling you, it's really good. So,
sorry, it's funny you're talking about like hitting up like weird streaming services. Would it be inappropriate to, imply that if you got these weird shows, you can always ask Captain Jack Sparrow to help you find them?
What does that mean?
Yeah, no, I have no interest in that.
I just got that. Got it.
Yeah.
Sorry, it took me a second. All right. Can you even do that anymore?
I mean,
you totally can't do that.
No, I could do.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
Could I do Showtime for a month?
Yeah, you can probably do a free trial and at least like watch an episode.
Well, because the season to purchase is $20. That seems like a lot.
It's a big investment if you're not. If you don't
I could just
into the show.
Do 1 month and cancel. I feel like.
Yeah, for like how much does the streaming service cost? Yeah.
Oh, the streaming service probably does cost $20, though, doesn't it?
But you know what, though? Like, you could probably get a like free trial, right?
Yeah, it makes it. I have to watch 10 episodes in like 5 days. I don't know about that.
Oh man, I can do that. I can do that anytime.
I'm sure you could, but I can't.
Yeah,
I'm a good binger. I like to binge, man. Oh, so like you can do 30 days for free. 30 days for free on Showtime. There you go.
That's not enough.
Wait, where do you see 30 days for free?
I don't know. I just popped it up here. Start streaming Showtime now. 30 days for free. I don't know.
I see 7 days for free.
I'm on Showtime's website.
All right.
Yeah. There you go. You just go and get a free trial.
Yeah. The problem is then you're committing to it, right? You have to.
Yeah. So I want to get Paramount Plus so bad, and I still won't spend the $4.99. So I don't
know. I only have Paramount Plus, like I said before, because there's so many like good like kid stuff on there. My daughter loves Paw Patrol and Peppa Pig and all that nonsense. So, although we were watching Rocko's Modern Life earlier, which was fun. but I realized how different cartoons in the 90s were from cartoons now.
Absolutely.
Totally.
Very different.
Yes.
Very different. So
we let a lot of things slide back then.
Oh man, yeah. Like it's funny. My wife and I were just joking about this. Like, oh man, there's some like really adult jokes in this. We just like,
Dexter's Laboratory was one of the best.
Yeah,
totally. I love Dexter's Lab.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, I hope people like TV talk because
this episode is going to be the lowest rated episode that we've ever had.
Well, they can't all be fast past arguments.
And it's funny, like we don't talk about that stuff. Like it just comes up.
Just happened. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just happened.
Yeah, it's not like we planned for any of this. Like,
yeah, I mean, listen, we were going to have the inevitable downturn. So, hey, listen, maybe people will enjoy us just talking about random stuff this week. So, who knows? Yeah. But yeah, seriously, Damon, I think Yellow Jackets is really good.
Well, I'm looking, so I'm on the Showtime website to see if there's anything else I would watch, and there's really not. That's the problem.
Yeah. Yeah, Dexter's on there, and I never watched that show, right? I mean, I don't know. I don't really care about anything. What's that?
It's this thing called Darknet.
What is that?
I don't know. It's on Showtime.
That doesn't sound good.
Yeah, it doesn't. I can't even believe they're not promoting Yellow Jackets like right on their homepage. I feel like it's their biggest show right now. It's been everywhere. So I don't know. Oh, you can do a Paramount Plus bundle
with Showtime.
Yeah. Showtime that says.
Where are you seeing this?
Same the website I sent you. It's 30 days for free and then $10 a month for both together. Look at that. I have too many streaming services.
You said $30 a month?
$10, $9.99, 30 days free.
Oh,
look at that.
That might be interesting. I'm going to learn more about that.
You can learn more. Click on learn more on that one. All right. So Sean asked another question. Lots of talks and rumors about big changes coming to annual passes. I don't know what he's talking about because I haven't seen anything, but maybe it's just, I got out of some of the Disney groups I was in and I'm not on Facebook that much. Maybe there's been talk there, but I haven't seen anything about this. But he said, what kind of changes would you like to see? Do you think about a pass that's good for whenever you're staying on property using points?
I love that idea.
So you're saying, but like, how would they even do that though? Right? Like,
what do you mean? How would they do it?
Because like, what if you end up staying on property for 3 months? You know what I mean? Like, do they base it on how many points you have, or they base it on like,
what do you mean if you stay on property for 3 months? If you have that many DVC points, then yeah, what's the problem? It would be like just like an annual fast pass. Annual pass.
Basically, the point is that it limits it to people who are staying on property. So it's not like, you can go and get something nearby and, still take advantage of
I love
the
that
discount or whatever. Yeah.
Do we think fast? I keep on calling it fast pass. Do we think annual passes are even coming back?
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
I don't think they are, man.
I don't know.
I think they are. I think it's still I think it's going to be up to another year out because Disney has no incentive to offer annual passes. But
what incentive do they have to offer annual passes in a year from now?
When
people stop doing revenge travel,
exactly. Yeah. Yes. when things calm down from the post-COVID blues.
But annual passes are never a win for them.
No, it's true. Financially, not a win for them, right? And that's partly why they're not selling.
I don't think they're ever coming back because there's no win for them, and people are used to not having them. I don't think they're coming back, man.
I kind of agree with Trevor here, where they'll come back, but later, right? Like,
well, and if they come back at all, they're going to be terrible. They're not going to be what they were.
Oh no, yeah, it won't be like it was because again, there's no incentive for them to go back to offering what they were. The whole reason that they were offering a lot of the stuff with annual passes previously was to try and draw people to the parks, and that's not an issue right now.
You know what I would love is like a pass that was like a punch card at a when you go and get like a sandwich and they punch off your punch card
free.
Yeah, no. What I mean by that is like, what if they had a pass where it was like, okay, this pass includes 20 days whenever you want, right? Like
I would like that.
You know what I mean? Because for me, like I get the annual pass because it makes sense for me, but I probably only use it for 15 days in a year at the most. Like,
but how do you regulate those 20 days? That's the problem. When you have an annual pass, you kind of just say, okay, they could come whenever.
Well, you regulate it with the park reservations, right? So you make a reservation.
But the problem with that is that becomes tricky because if somebody says, well, I can't use my pass because there's no park reservations,
Yeah.
That gets them in a bad position where people are fighting for,
unless they just make that known up front so that it's like, hey, you can have, so there's no annual pass part of it. It's just, hey, here's 20 punch cards.
Yeah.
And you can use them in the next 5 years.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, how great would it be to, like, you just make it like a 20-day ticket that you can use whenever you want, right? Like, that would be ideal for me because, we go every year, but it's like the annual pass makes sense for us only if we do 2 trips within that 1 year period that we have the annual pass, right? Like, that's the only time it makes sense. Otherwise, I mean, we're not going every weekend. Like, we're not getting full use out of that. And it would be great if we could do the annual pass and just have it be a lower version of it,
Yeah, this feels like a step backwards because they used to do that where like you could buy so many days and they didn't have expiry on them. Yeah. And people would come back and use tickets that they had from like years ago because of it. So
yeah, I mean, that's fine with me.
Well, yeah, of course, that's fine by us. But I see where Disney doesn't want to do that, right?
I'm also saying not make it the only option, right? Just an option, right? Like maybe like the cheaper option would be you get X amount of days per year and you have blackout times and all that, right? And you still have the ones that are unlimited, go whenever you want, in different blackout dates. But I mean, I don't know. It's hard because and I have this on the list for later, but Disneyland just pulled all of their annual passes. They no longer have annual passes at all. And then at the same time put out a California resident ticket, which is interesting.
But I mean, that just puts them in the same boat as Disney World, right? Because Disney World's not offering
Disney World
right now.
Well, no, Disney World is still offering the Florida resident only one, like the lowest level one. The very lowest level one that you can't go on weekends. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, that's the only one they have right now. So it's not far off. And I do wonder with Disneyland getting rid of all of the Magic Keys if Disney World is going to be soon to follow and just also cancel that last one too. I don't know.
Well, we'll come back to that in a minute.
I don't know though. I just think that it's to Damon's point, right? There's no incentive for them to do it right now because they've actually talked about this in their earnings, that they are part of the reason why their earnings are up so much is because they have, quote, the right kind of customer. And what they mean by the right kind of customer is not an annual pass holder, right? They mean they have less pass holders and more, long trips.
But like you said, revenge travel is going to run out. Is that? I guess that's what we're calling it now. That's
what it's called. Yeah, it's called revenge. Yeah. But like you're right. Once that's over, right? Like once people like get it out of their system, like you expect maybe the demand to go down a little bit for it, and then maybe they do want to offer the passes again because they do want to have as many people in the parks as they can, right? But as they can, and also not have people be mad about it. But at the same time, like right now they don't need those people, right? Because they have all these people traveling and wanting to go to the parks. But if at some point they need to drum up demand again, but I mean, Trevor, we were talking to that lady that was a local, that was a cast member in line, and she was saying how much it stinks, right? Because she wants to have an annual pass, but if she wants to take her daughter for the weekend, they have to go and pay a couple $100 to go in for the weekend instead of just having the annual pass. And she was like, we're not going to do the other pass because that one excludes weekends. And when am I going to take my daughter other than the weekends,
Yeah,
So,
it makes it very restrictive for a lot of audiences. And
absolutely.
Yeah, I totally get that. And yeah, I think, like you said, Disney's going to, right now, they're happy with the way things are going. But, this also does tie in with the previous discussion we had about what's next after Tron, right? Yeah. Because, at the moment, Disney's got all kinds of things coming out that have been delayed. There's a bunch of pent up desire for people to go to Disney. Once the hype runs out on those new things and once people, get over the desire to just, get out and start traveling again, what's next?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like I can see things dropping off and then Disney being in a position where, hey, annual passes, hey, here's a deal. Like, and actually here's another tell sign, I guess, for me is that because I'm a Canadian resident, I get emails like it's pretty much once a quarter where 90% of the time they're for Disneyland, or they were before COVID. It was always like, 25% off park tickets. And the whole point of it was it basically matched up the price to our the dollar conversion. So it made it appealing for, as a Canadian resident, to travel. And Disney was doing that. Like I said, it was about once every 3 months I would get those emails. I'm starting to see those emails again, but I think I've seen one in the last 6 months at this point. So Disney is still not, they're not feeling the need to attract people at the moment. But again, let's have this conversation in a year and see what it's like.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's true. Yeah. And then once the 50th anniversary stuff ends, right? Like what's next after that, right? What's after the 50th anniversary? What are the new attractions they're going to build? All that kind of stuff. That's stuff we don't have the answer to. So, all right. So the few news items we have this week.
Summer House on the Lake to debut at Disney Springs in 2023. That's quite the mouthful for, but we're going to call this Summer House.
Summer House. Yeah, just call it Summer House, right? Like, yeah. I mean, it looks really cool. The pictures of it. I mean, it looks very like, it looks very fancy.
It's very modern for sure.
Very modern. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, word on like, I don't know what kind of food this is. Like, I don't know. I know this is an existing restaurant, so.
I like the living wall and the vines and everything that they're portraying will be in there.
Yeah.
Definitely gives that Summer House vibe for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's,
I'm just pulling up like what their existing restaurant just to see what kind of food it is, right? Like, I don't even know what you would call this. It's kind of like it is definitely very fancy. This is going to be an expensive place to eat. I'm telling you right now.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's like a burger and sandwich kind of place. It's nothing too fancy, I guess. But like their existing restaurant, like a burger costs $18, so you know what it's going to cost at Disney Springs.
Yeah, I okay. So I guess that's not what I thought of for Summer House.
Not what I thought of either. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I get when you're on summer vacation, you do barbecue and all that kind of stuff, but I don't know. I don't even know how to describe, like I'm thinking of like my uncle actually had a cabin in the Shuswap Lakes in British Columbia, and like we would be out there, and it was a lot of there's a lot of orchards and stuff, so we always had like fruit on hand, and there was always like salmon. We'd always do salmon on different planks of wood and stuff like that, which was really good. I know you don't eat fish, but it's good. Trust me.
Well, yeah, this place has like pizzas and stuff. Like it's pizzas and burgers and sandwiches. So it looks way fancier than the food would suggest.
Well, I don't know. That seems pretty boring to me. Like,
yeah, right.
I can get pizzas and burgers and sandwiches like anywhere at Disney World. Exactly. So
exactly. Yeah. I don't really know what their kind of theme is, and I'm sure there's somebody. I mean, they have 2 existing locations, so I'm sure there's somebody that listens to it says like, "Oh, this place is awesome." So cool.
Well. And
let us know.
This is why it's awesome. Yeah, I want to know.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
All right, rumor.
Yes, this is a rumor only because Disney has refused to confirm or deny this, and so I'm going to call it a rumor. So, do you want to read it? Go ahead.
Yeah. The Princess and the Frog Splash Mountain replacement will open in 2024 at Disneyland and Magic Kingdom. So, we haven't heard a lot about this replacement for a while now, and obviously because of COVID that makes sense, but it is still on the books. It is still coming. There seems to be some hints that it's not going to come next year. It's going to come hopefully early 2024.
Yeah.
One of the things to think about with this is people say there's going to be there will be downtime for Splash Mountain, obviously, when this happens. But I get the feeling that a lot of the work that's being done it's things that are happening in the background that they don't need to take the ride down for, like, new animatronics and, building set pieces and everything. And I get the feeling that they're going to wait until, they need to do installation, and it's going to be, everything's going to go in quick, right?
Yeah, like it'll be probably closed for like, I mean, I could see like 6 months at the longest, but maybe just a couple months. But the funny thing about this is this seems to be like the situation with Guardians, where that executive like accidentally announced stuff that he shouldn't have, because this is basically the voice of Tiana was on Live with Ryan and Kelly, and just said this, right? And then it just kind of seems like maybe this slipped out. Like maybe she wasn't supposed to say that, because Disney's not confirming this, and you would think that if they were ready to announce this, they would have after this, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I like the last sentence is, Rose offered no further details on the attraction other than she would be sucked into the ground if she said more.
That's pretty funny.
Which is very, yeah.
That is pretty funny. Yeah.
Yeah. That seems appropriate. Like also thinking about like Princess and the Frog and how all that went.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. So that's really all on that topic. I mean, we don't really know for sure. Like I said, I'm calling it a rumor because Disney hasn't confirmed it yet.
I guess that is, we kind of answered our own question about what's next. We know the Splash Mountain thing will be coming at some point, but I don't think that's enough to like.
No. Well, the Epcot changes, right? Like, so the Epcot stuff, I think we expect probably next year sometime, to be finished up. So, but again, these are not major attractions, right? Like the Moana water thing is not a major attraction. A new stage for them to have shows for the festivals at Epcot is not a major attraction, right? Like, so they're going to have to, come up with some things to, to draw people in. And
there needs to be a new headliner past Tron. And I don't think, I know they'll try and swing Princess and the Frog, but it's a
retheme though. At the end of the day, it's not a new ride.
Just Splash Mountain.
Yeah, it's not a new ride, right? So, you need a new ride. Like rethemes are not going to move the needle, right? So,
yeah.
This next thing I'm actually excited about because new menus coming to Sci-Fi Dine-In and to 50s Primetimer, which are both must-do restaurants for us. I know you're a big 50s Primetime fan.
Yeah.
I like both restaurants a lot. Sci-Fi is just one that always like. Like how like when you were a kid, you have like certain memories that you remember from being like a little kid being at Disney. Like this is one of mine from being a kid is going to Sci-Fi Dine-In. Like it's just something I always remember, Yeah. And so it's like a nostalgic pick for me. So
I get that too. We actually in 2006 when I went with my brother, the three of us went to Sci-Fi, and it's not like, don't get me wrong, I don't hate Sci-Fi. It's just when given the option between Primetime and Sci-Fi, I always just pick Primetime over it. But same thing is we went and we actually ended up eating there right before close, so we got we got to have the fun meal and then walk out of Hollywood Studios when it was empty and raining actually, which was very surreal. So yeah, I appreciate what you're saying there, that this place has some history and memories to it, and the fact that they're actually updating the menu is good because it's I think it's been needing it for a while now.
I feel like the food there was not bad. It just wasn't like the best food that you could get,
Yeah. So yeah, I'm seeing I'm just reading some of the bolded things on here, which is Sci-Fi smoked wings, spinach and artichoke dip, which
plant-based, totally plant-based.
Okay. Yeah. That's better. I can do that. That's and black garlic Caesar salad. That would be really good.
Sounds pretty good. Yeah. Got some new burgers.
Yeah. So are these burgers or sliders? They look kind of small.
No, I think they're pretty nice size. They're burgers. I mean, they're pretty stacked, right?
Okay. Those are thick cut fries next to them. I'm looking at the picture and I'm like, those. Okay, yeah. The choice of sides isn't helping portray the size of the burger.
They have some new custom plates too that have the name of the place on it, which is not something you see that much at Disney anymore.
Right.
The one thing I wish with Sci-Fi is that they would add some more footage, right? Because like if you're there long enough, like it starts to redo the movie, and it's like, all right, I already saw this. Like
it's 45 minutes.
Yeah, they need like 2 hours, right? Like, and I'm sure you can find some more oldie time, like footage of the future,
1950s black and white sci-fi shows.
Yeah, you could totally find that. So I wish they would do that, but it's still a place I love. It has some of the best ambiance of any restaurant, but they've got, let's see, pork on pork burger. That's interesting.
Yeah. What was this? The dish includes grilled house-made pork patty topped with roasted pork belly. Whoa. Yeah, that's a lot of pork.
Yeah, that's a lot of pork. If you're really into that, I mean, it doesn't sound terrible. I mean, it sounds kind of good to me, but
it's a lot, right?
There's a surf and turf burger that has shrimp and a crab cake on it.
Yeah.
These are really interesting.
Yeah, I like that. That sounds good.
Yeah.
I do like the desserts. The Red Planet looks very cool.
Yeah, it's one of those dome cakes that they really like doing. You know, there's dome cheesecakes. That one looks cool. Actually, I think the Out of This World sci-fi swirl looks cool too.
They both kind of have the little, or the swirl has the little dome piece on it as well. But they're very, very appropriately themed desserts there.
You know what? It's kind of funny though, because like, and I'm sure anybody that's been there can attest to this, right? Like, it's funny that they're taking time to make these desserts look good when you can't see a dang thing in that whole restaurant. Like, it's dark, you can't even see your plate when you're eating. Like, the lights are so dim in those cars. Like, so it's almost lost on me that these are going to look good, because it's just like, I'm usually just trying to find where my food is on my plate. You know?
No, I mean they have the lighting in the cars, like,
but it's not very bright. I'm just saying, like, you can't really see details. You know, you can see like the general food, but like the little details are going to be lost on you, I feel like. But anyway,
that's fair.
But yeah, so this is this one is pineapple mousse, passion fruit, cosmic swirl, and spiced lime spaceship, garnished with space dust, whatever that is, and then blood orange coulis. Oh, okay. And then that Red Planet one you talked about is chocolate cheesecake, blueberry compote on graham cracker tart with a matcha sponge and gold candied pecans. Wow. Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah, both of those sound good.
Yeah.
All right, let's go over to Primetime Cafe. So, jalapeno popper deviled eggs.
That's really interesting.
This is not something that I thought I wanted,
but you kind of do now.
But yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, like I have a love-hate relationship with jalapeno poppers, because they usually have like cream cheese and stuff in them, which doesn't help my stomach, but I do want to eat them.
Yeah.
And then adding in deviled eggs. Deviled eggs are good too. So
I agree.
And then the creamy tomato soup is a new starter. Again,
was the pot pie not there? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Love the idea of some good tomato soup if they do it right. And then Grandpa Jean's chicken pot pie. I don't recall there being.
See, I feel like the last time I went there, I got a pot pie. Huh. Yeah, I mean, was it gone off the menu from COVID and then it's just coming back now? Or because I swear last time I went there, I had it. Maybe I'm losing my mind.
Oh, Grandpa Jean's chicken pot pie has made its official return to the 50s Primetime Cafe. So this is coming back.
Okay. Yeah, because it's like a deconstructed kind of pot pie. Yeah.
Yeah. And then on the dessert side, they have pineapple upside down cake.
Okay.
You know, why not? Lemon meringue pie. I mean, that's an easy one, but it's also an easy one to mess up, right?
Like, I do like a lemon meringue though. I do like a lemon meringue.
Yeah, I've had some bad lemon meringue, so you know, I trust Disney will do good with it.
Ooh,
meaning like when it's too sugary, like when the meringue is just like sugar and not whipped properly. Yeah.
See, I think the place I go right here is the Grasshopper Bar though. Mint white chocolate mousse with chocolate chips on a chocolate chip cookie, topped with whipped cream and chocolate chips. I'm in. I love a good mint chocolate chip. That looks delicious. Yep. Yeah. Give me that. Although I'm laughing at this last one. Can we talk about this last one?
The stained glass dessert.
Yeah. It's Jell-O with whipped cream.
So hold on. Whipped pineapple fluff studded with cubes of strawberry, lime, and orange gelatin.
To look like stained glass.
Yeah. So okay. Yeah, you're right. It's Jell-O and whipped cream, but it's pineapple whipped cream.
Pineapple fluff. I mean, are you into this Grasshopper Bar though? I think you were starting to say something before I went off.
Yeah. I like the whole chocolate mint thing as well. I mean, that I really like that mint chocolate ice cream we had. So
yeah.
So that sounds great. I need. Okay, fine. After this, I'm going to be talking to my wife about booking prime time when we go in November. I'm reading all this and I'm going, okay, you know what? We need to book this. I need to go back there again.
Yeah, for sure. You know what? I actually might, since we're doing like almost like 2 separate trips with 2 separate families, I might do sci-fi one part of the trip and then 50s the other part of the trip. So
do it.
Yeah, might as well, right?
Yeah.
And then I also see this key lime milkshake at Hollywood Scoops. That sounds pretty good to me too. Key lime vanilla shake topped with lemon lime donut garnished with sweet graham cracker crumb. Listen, I'm not usually a fan of the throw a donut on top of a milkshake kind of thing, but this looks pretty good.
it does, but it's like, just give me a good milkshake. Like,
maybe,
you don't
need the donut is what you're saying?
Or I mean, work the, you can work a donut into a milkshake, but then I guess it becomes kind of like a Blizzard, like a Dairy Queen situation.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then, there's some Galaxy's Edge stuff with a cold
like
brew
coffees or something.
Yeah. Some boring looking coffees. Honestly, they don't look. Here's some brown water.
You're gonna insult all the coffee drinkers out there. That one.
I do drink coffee. That's the thing, is that I do drink coffee. It's just these I don't know.
Well, I think that we
putting
can,
in a critical
that's enough about those. We can continue on. And this is really, we don't really even need to talk about this Finding Nemo thing too much. Just it feels like we need to mention it that June 13th, the Finding Nemo show is returning. The reworked Finding Nemo show, Big Blue and Beyond is what it's called. So I know you don't really care about the show too much, but I definitely want to bring my daughter there. So I'm excited for to be able to bring my daughter to the Finding Nemo show, and I'm glad that it's reopening. It's a nice thing to have at Animal Kingdom. So
that is 1 week from the day this podcast releases.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So it's not, if you're listening to this on the day we release it, which is a Monday, it's the week after that. So yeah.
All right, so let's go talk Disneyland stuff quick. We kind of started with
can quickly finish this and get out of here, right?
Yeah, exactly. All Magic Key annual passes are no longer available, which is very unfortunate. But again, I feel this is a case of they've said at various points that they will stop and start the availability of annual passes based on demand. And this goes back to our previous conversation where I get the feeling that, Disney knows they're coming into the summer months. And the second point here is they're announcing a limited time summer ticket offer to California residents, which means, they want to push people towards that and not towards buying annual passes. So bit of a different story on the West Coast because, there is a lot more local traffic there than there is in Florida. So kind of makes sense. Also sucks because it feels like right now there's no options for annual passes pretty much anywhere, not just at Disney. I mean, I don't think, or actually that's not true. Now that I think about, like, even some of our local parks are still offering annual passes. So
our local parks are begging for us to buy an annual pass. So
I guess you're right.
Different situation, I think, right?
Yeah, but it's funny because like up around here, like we have a couple of, there's Heritage Park and Callaway Park, which are, Callaway Park is, like it used to be a Hanna-Barbera run thing, but it's very run down now. They're always trying to draw people in. Heritage Park is, it's actually supposed, it's supposed to be like early 19th century and, showing a lot of historical stuff, but it's also, it's a theme park in that they actually do have some like old school rides like a Ferris wheel from the early 1900s, which is cool and terrifying at the same time.
That would be,
it's all maintained and everything.
I don't do Ferris wheels. I hate Ferris wheels. So
it's great, but like those have been pushing for it. But then again, looking at Disney, I think a lot of people are hyper focused on Disney and wanting to go back there, and Disney knows full well that it's not in their best interest to offer annual passes right now.
Well, and I also think though too, I mean, I've seen mostly seen people complaining about the Magic Key program, right? So like where it's been hard for people to get reservations. The parks have, from everything I've read, Disneyland's been packed, right? Like it's just been totally packed. And it's been, again, it's this revenge travel thing, right? Like everybody's trying to get back into what they were doing. And so that's going to result in some people, like a lot of places being super busy. And that's, our local parks, are more immune to that, right? Because like you're not going to travel from Canada to go to Carowinds, locally here in Charlotte, right? Like that's not, it's not a destination you go to, right? Whereas Disney's different. Like it is a destination that you would travel all the way across the country for. So like those places can sell annual passes, no problem, because they're, they need to attract people. Whereas Disney is like, we've got too much demand, right? Like we got too many people that want to come in. So we got to limit it and make it a little more difficult. And so, I mean, I'm not really that surprised about it. But, along with that, they decided to put out a limited time California resident, ticket offer. So where they could buy them, a little bit cheaper. But, I feel bad for the California people. But again, I also feel bad, for the Florida people, too, that there's no annual passes. It does make things a little more difficult. So here, I'm just going to read this off so that people understand what this offer is. It says, for a limited time, California residents may visit the Disneyland Resort theme park for as low as $83 per person per day with the special ticket offer. It's a 3-day, 1 park per day ticket, starting at $249 for admission on Mondays through Thursdays, or as low as $299, $100 per day for any day, including weekends for eligible guests. So this goes back to, we were talking with that cast member about, that sounds great, but, only if you're able to go to the parks Monday through Thursdays. Exactly.
Which,
I mean, because then it's more expensive for the weekends, right? And then, for like most people, Yeah,
and then they add on is, a three-day park hopper ticket can be purchased for an additional $60. The limited time tickets are available for purchase starting May 31st. And California residents may redeem their tickets on any 3 eligible days from June 13th to September 15th, 2022, subject to park reservation availability. So this actually gets us into that position where, if you can't find a reservation,
you can't go.
And you bought these tickets, like past September 15th, you just lose out on those tickets.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. That's, again, I get why Disney's doing that. They're giving something, for people that are local that can travel there easily, but they're also very heavily limiting it so that, again, it makes sense. People that are traveling, that a lot of times they end up there on the weekends. They don't want local people filling up the parks and making it impossible for people that are traveling there to get in. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it sucks, but this is what we're going to be living with for a little bit, at least.
Yeah, for a little while. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a lot of people expected this, and this is kind of what's happening, right? So, I mean, I will say though, when we were at the parks, they didn't feel overwhelmingly busy, right? And I know that's partly because of the reservation system, right? I mean, it's part of it is they are purposely keeping them less than full capacity, right? And because everybody's happier that way, right? But at least if you're in the park anyway. But yeah.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a timing thing too, right?
Sure, sure. So
like even looking at these tickets, like if I was a California resident, if I had a window between end of August to the September 15th, where I had days that I could go during a weekday, I feel that you would end up in the same situation where you could potentially go during the week and find that it's, not that busy like how we saw at Disney World.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I thought when we were at World, I mean, I didn't think it was fine. It wasn't like dead, but it wasn't like overwhelmingly busy. It was, it was busy. But it wasn't like crazy,
Yeah.
So. Let's wrap this up, Trevor. I think we talked a lot. I'm surprised we went for as long as we did, considering the lack of topics. We went off on other rants about TV shows and such. So
yeah, that's because we the listener questions took us down some interesting rabbit holes this week,
as they tend to do. That's why we like doing listener questions. So
exactly. All right. So, as usual, if you guys want to get a hold of us, you can always find us at welcomehomepodcast@gmail.com. Keep submitting your questions. We love talking to you guys over email. We try to respond back as quickly as we can. And, also, if you guys just want to share your experiences or your point of view on some of the stuff we've talked about, we love hearing that stuff too. in the same vein, if you want to follow us on Facebook, we are there as Welcome Home Podcast, and we have the Facebook group, Welcome Home Disney Waitlist, that you can talk with us and with other listeners as well. There's always memes going on in there. There's always people have their own questions, and we'll get great topics, Disney and otherwise. Like, it's not just talking about Disney. We love talking about other things with you guys too. So, come join us if you're interested. And also, if you want to follow us on YouTube or Instagram, YouTube is Welcome Home Podcast. Instagram is Welcome Home Pics. Also places to follow us where, whenever we do live shows and things from the park, they get posted on both of those platforms if you have them. And if you want to help support the show, consider going to store.welcomehomepodcast.com and checking out our merchandise there. There you can get mugs and t-shirts and stuff like that. And if you like Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/welcomehomepod and check out our different subscriber levels there. They all have exclusive merchandise that you can only get on Patreon, and it gets you access to the Discord server as well. And I think maybe I'll also plug it this time that just an FYI for everybody, we are talking about our next t-shirt design, similar to how we did the Haunted River Country shirt. We're in the design phase on this. So once we get things more concrete and we're ready to push these out, we'll of course let everybody know that it's available, but just keep that in the back of your mind that we've got a new shirt coming in. I think this one's going to be cool too, like Haunted River Country. So
I'm actually more excited about this one than I was for the Haunted River Country one. I don't know.
Yeah, I think because Haunted River Country, we weren't quite sure how to do it in the first place, and now we kind of know how this goes. Where and I think the cool thing too is that it spawned a couple of conversations. So we're getting. We weren't quite sure after Haunted River Country what to do next or how to approach the next shirt, but I think we've got some ideas going now. So
I think I'm just more excited about the concept. That's all. I'm just more excited about the concept.
This one's cool, and but I'm excited that we're starting to do more of this. So I'm excited just to see how it creatively comes out, because it always kind of starts fuzzy in our heads or like with these conversations, and then when we finally see, we get the artist to help create it. It's always cool seeing how that solidifies.
How that translates. Yeah. And people have been asking us when we're going to do another shirt. So yeah, it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, it is coming. We are in the early process of it. So again, don't want to guarantee anything, but we're probably still a couple of months out on this at least. But it is happening. We are actively working on this.
I'd say before the end of the year.
Oh yes, definitely. Yeah.
I'd say maybe closer to like the last 3 months of the year, but it just kind of depends on how the artist, how the artist works. So there's some, there's a lot of back and forth. Like I guess anybody that's been involved in creative projects is, very rarely do you get it on the first go. Yeah. But we're pretty pumped about this design. I think it's going to be fun. Mm-hmm. And I'm excited about it. So
yeah, totally. All right. And last but not least, if you guys want to leave us a review on iTunes or Spotify, please consider doing so, just for the sake of helping more people find the podcast, because more reviews means it, how the fun internet algorithms work is more people will find it. But we also would appreciate if you're leaving a review on iTunes. We do like feedback. We like hearing what you guys think about the show. What we don't like is just saying, Damon doesn't hang around, and it's like, yeah, we know, but that's also because Damon's busy and he's committed to other things. So, you don't need to tell us that, but we do still want to hear your feedback about other things that you like or dislike about the show. And we are absolutely open to constructive criticism, as long as it's not poking at things about our individual situations.
So, listen, and we got just over the past 2 weeks, we got some really great reviews from from Jane, from Colin, from Tim in Michigan. Thank you guys. Really appreciate it. Some really funny reviews that you guys wrote. I love the funny reviews. They make me really happy. Like, I love when you guys get creative with them and you say really funny things. Like, it's just great. Just a sample here from Tim said, Damon, keep on keeping on, as Joe Dirt once said. Like, it's pretty funny. Yeah. I really like that stuff. Also, Colin called Damon Oscar from Sesame Street, and we are Ernie and Big Bird, I guess. So, I mean, I'm not sure which one I want to be, if I'd want to be Ernie or Big Bird, but
I like all three, so I'm not worried about which one it is. I just don't know what the listeners or who the listeners think we are.
That's a fair point. Well, it's funny because somebody at the meetup was saying like, oh, I had imagined you looking like this. Right? Like, I forget who it was, but somebody was saying like, oh, I had imagined you looking like this and you looking like this. And I remember too, we got like an email one time where someone was like, oh, I imagine Tom looks like a surfer guy with like blonde hair and like perfectly shaved. I was like, oh yeah, no, not at all. It is funny though how like, people hear our voices and haven't necessarily seen our faces and just, kind of what they think of, what we look like and how we are. So Anyway. So don't forget to subscribe to Welcome Home Podcast so you can be reminded every time we release an episode. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, just about any podcast app that's out there. Just search for Welcome Home or the one that's Disney and DVC. Just a reminder to our listeners, Welcome Home Podcast is for entertainment only. We are not employed by the Walt Disney Company, and as such, all opinions we express on the show are our own. So please consult a Disney representative, a Disney cast member, a DVC representative for more information about anything we talked about today. Huge thank you to our sponsor, DVC Resale Market, and of course, World of DVC for continuing to be our sponsors. Please check them out if you're looking to buy or sell a DVC or need a loan or need to rent. Whatever you need to do, check out World of DVC. They have been great to us. So join us next time for more Disney's Parks discussion. Of course, more DVC talk. We hope to see you all real soon.
This is Skipper Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, signing off from Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Do a huddle when we hit a chair. How she can cuddle is no man's affair. I looked around from pole to pole, found her in a sugar bowl.